joined Instacart in 2020, and we now power the retail sites of over 240 retail partners. We're basically offering a white label ad tech to be able to reach Instacart consumers even when they're outside of Instacart and doing those everyday media consumption as well. Our CPG partners, they want everything to be shoppable.
Shorten the journey, reduce the clicks.
Exactly.
This episode is brought to you in partnership with the EPP FMCG, CPG Revenue Growth Management Forum Asia 2026 Inches Singapore. Join senior leaders in pricing, RGM, and category management to explore strategies for profitable growth. Scan to download the white paper with exclusive insights from APAC RGM leaders.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Ecommert podcast. Today we're in Manhattan, Instacart headquarters with the Director of Brand Partnerships, Jeong Woo. Jeong, thank you very much for having us here today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited.
I'm looking forward to this moment since our early partnership days back in the day when I was in Sabra PepsiCo. We built a lot of media plans together. We converted a lot of consumers together. Finally, I get to talk to you in person, which is great.
I know. We met at such a critical time, like right by the pandemic, and
Exactly.
look at that, we survived.
I'm glad we connected back in the day because everybody was on fire to figure out e-commerce back then.
Yes, yeah,
And I know Instacart was still one of the few companies offering robust solutions.
yeah.
I'm going to ask a lot of questions about those where we are today. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. But before we get into the nitty-gritty part,
Yeah.
please walk me and the audience through your journey, what you have been building up until this point, and what your team at Instacart currently working on.
Yeah. So there's nothing like this type of event to make you realize how long you've been doing something.
Tell me about
Yeah, but I will say, so I have been in the digital advertising and media space for my entire career before digital media was a thing.
Okay.
So I started my career at Microsoft Advertising, joined early days building their advertising business from the ground up. I mean, to put it into perspective, the CEO was Bill Gates. So this is how long ago I'm talking about, but spent 12 years there and spent my career at Microsoft in a wide variety of roles, from sales to account management to category leadership. And then transitioned to work on Amazon. Amazon, another giant, right as they were getting into the advertising business as well. Spent 2.5 years, and honestly, when I got to Amazon, I thought I would spend another 12 years there, similar to the
Microsoft.
length of time I spent at Microsoft, because they were getting into so many different businesses, even just beyond e-commerce. So whether it was entertainment or publishing.
Right.
So I really joined Amazon in 2012 with the intent to potentially spend 10 years there. I would say the best opportunities are often serendipitous. And there was a beloved industry friend who made this switch from agency to Pinterest back in 2014,
Okay.
when they were just getting their monetization and brand partnerships business off the ground. So joined Pinterest in 2014, spent 5 years there building that business, and then joined Instacart in 2020, February of 2020 specifically, I should say, before the pandemic
And then it
was
wasn't
officially,
peak. Yeah.
started here and in the New York office. I should say I was always based in New York, even though I worked for a lot of West Coast-based companies, and saw basically, years of growth in like a short period of time, and have been with Instacart over the past now almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years in February, to build our business over here as well. So right now, I lead a strategic brand partnerships team, and we're focused on the beverages category primarily. Although, the CPGs that we work with, they span multiple categories, but I would say the focus is on beverages. So at the end of the day, very simply put, my job is to make sure that the beverages category on Instacart is healthy, is growing, and the brand partners that we partner with are also growing. and growing their business as well.
But it's a nice journey from tech giants to emerging and accelerating social
Yep,
platforms.
absolutely, yeah.
And now you're in the much probably faster moving domain, which is
Yeah,
FMCG beverage.
right, yeah.
How do you resonate with this journey? What is your sentiment when you look at multiple brands in your current portfolio rather than working with big conglomerates?
Yeah, I mean, back at like when I reflect, I would say like the world was so much simpler back then, and
Oh, yeah.
the expectation from brands, from the industry, from consumers were also so innocent. I would say like back in the day, and now
So naive.
yeah, and
That,
now
yes.
everything is, like multi-channel, multi measurement, and everything is like speed, speed, speed. And that was always the promise of digital, right?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
this speed. So in addition to just like the agility that it serves, it was the nimbleness of the changes that you could make, like quickly test and learn was like in a matter of like weeks and months and not years or quarters like in the past.
Fail fast, learn fast
Yep.
is the motto.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But now you're working in a different function of Instacart, because when Instacart came to the scene first, it
Yeah.
was a quick delivery, last mile partner,
Yeah,
which is on the pretty much supply chain, delivery, and consumer domain.
that's right.
Now we have this transformation for many other retailers. They've become big publishers, they've become big media conglomerates. How is this retail media partnerships
Yeah.
with your team, with your clients evolving? And is Instacart also becoming a media publisher like
Yeah.
a physical retailer?
Absolutely. I mean, when I came in again, February of 2020, we were known like Instacart was synonymous with online grocery delivery,
Delivered,
like
yeah.
period, full stop. And then now, with the evolution of Instacart, we're now a grocery technology company,
Love
and
it.
our technology is really ingrained and embedded across. You would be surprised, like in store, online, on marketplace, off marketplace, and really ingrained throughout the entire ecosystem.
I must admit, every time we have a call with you or with your team, usually every quarter, you guys were introducing us a new feature, new ad format
Yeah.
at every 3 months. This was again pre-COVID
Yeah.
and during COVID. Now, with the partnerships you've built
Wow.
or with the demand you receive from brands, I'm sure it's pretty much the same or faster. But why don't you give us a glimpse
Yeah.
of what levels of funnel, because back in the day it was lower funnel and we're the closest to the purchase.
Absolutely.
What levels of funnel do you guys
Yeah.
cover now? What new formats you introduced in the last
Yeah.
5 years?
So going back to just like the earlier reference of Instacart being like an on
Delivery.
grocery delivery, everything was really optimized based on what the consumer was using Instacart for at that time, which was primarily my weekly shop and my monthly stock
Stock
up.
up. Yeah.
Right. So everything was okay. A consumer is coming here. There's already demand there. So let's capture that demand. And so I would say two of our earliest ad innovation at the time was sponsored product,
Of course.
right? And then the second one was what we used to call delivery promotion,
Right.
where you spent a certain amount and that unlocked free delivery. Again, going back to like, things were so simple back then and it has gotten complicated or just a lot more complex, I would say. And now what we're realizing is that as online grocery penetration has been increasing, and the number of consumers are migrating more online to do their grocery shopping.
Right.
Like capturing the demand is always going to be at the core of what we do. And sponsored products, we're continuing to invest in that, making it smarter though, and making it easier for our advertising partners by introducing something like objective-based buying, where you just input like what your goal is for a particular campaign, what is the KPI, and then we will automate that for you. So there's that part of it that will always remain like a key part of our innovation. But the other exciting thing that we're doing and meeting consumers where they are is around more of like the discovery and like the awareness piece. And one of the things that's really exciting and a lot of our brands have tested into and have found a lot of success in are what we called inspirational ads.
Oh, yeah.
So think about things like shoppable recipes or occasions or bundles where you as a brand can reach consumers even when they're not in the mindset of your category or your product specifically. And we found a lot of success there, getting people like out of their aisle, like new to brand purchases and things like that.
Similar to what you described in the discovery part, I remember back in the day you had even sample campaigns like new product development. There were some era that we could sample, but nowadays things are digitized and scale is much larger. How are you tackling the targeting portion of it? Because targeting, contextualization,
Yep.
and catching the consumer in the context the brand wants to meet them.
Yep.
How are you overcoming this technological challenge?
Yeah.
And then I will come to the first party component to it, where brands getting back from that.
Yeah.
But please give us a little bit of example of targeting capability.
Yeah. And just the
This is one of the biggest promises of retail media, right?
absolutely. And even just like you really brought back memories when you said
Don't reveal my age here.
and ice. So, because even though that was a capability that we tested with and we thought we had a unique offering for, we do have a similar solution now. It's actually called free gift.
Okay.
Instead of like, obscure like sample size products, they are like free gifts that are picked off of shelves.
Okay.
And that is something that, our brand partners should be aware of it as well. But targeting, yes, I mean, that is where like our first party data really is differentiated in terms of how targeted we could get from a campaign perspective. So there are so many, like in addition to things like keyword targeting, we're able to find, let's say you are looking, or let's say you are a brand that wants to promote a new um, limited time offer product as an example. You're able to target users who maybe have purchased your brand in the past, so they may have a higher propensity to buy your limited time offer. You're able to target users who maybe bought your brand in the past but have lapsed. So how do you get them back into that? And even things like people who are buying in your category, but they're not buying in your brand. And really, that's what our team's job and our responsibility is based on the objective that you have for your brand, for your campaign, for this moment in time. What is the best and optimal targeting strategy that we can provide for you to best achieve those goals?
Okay, then it opens another unlock for me. Let's assume I'm a director of e-commerce for a well-known soft beverage company, and I want to test some Amazon Marketing Cloud or any other data clean room. I will need my first-party data,
Yeah.
but I'm looking at my brand side. So beverage is not a great category for first-party data fueled by my own brand side because of the distribution system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to look at my biggest partner on that game, Instacart. What level of first-party data I can get from Instacart to feed my data clean room on an Amazon campaign? Any collaboration there?
Yeah. So, I mean, you bring up a really great point, and also like a strategic bet and a priority that
Yeah.
we at Instacart is making is how do we take our valuable and differentiated first party audience and make that targetable
Right.
across all of your other media as well. So, whether it's like social or programmatic or CTV, how can our data help make that media more targeted, more performant, and ultimately more measurable as well?
Yeah, measurable is a big component to it, but
Yeah.
I will come to that later on. You got me there about the audiences section, because one of the biggest advantage of Instacart is you provide a massive number of retailers
Yes.
where consumers associate themselves or comfortable feeling shopping from there. How do you personalize these targeted campaigns, media objectives or campaign objectives across multiple retailers where consumers shopping from a number of them?
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of Instacart is that we are a marketplace of 1,800 plus retailers.
Amazing.
We have almost 8,000, if not more by now, CPG advertisers who are taking advantage and finding incredible success on our platform. So you don't need a differentiated strategy for, like a Costco or a Publix or a Kroger or a Schnucks, because that is all part of the Instacart ecosystem,
Right.
and that is all singularly managed through a single piece of technology. And that's really the investment that we're making, which is also an area that we are calling the ads ecosystem. And maybe this is something new for your audiences as well. If I could take like a live quiz, if I were to ask the question, like, what do you think Instacart is? I bet you the majority of your audience will have the exact same thing of what I said Instacart was when I joined, which is just online grocery
For delivery.
delivery. But then now our online grocery delivery marketplace, even though that was, we call it like Instacart OG, to where it is now, it's actually way beyond that. We talked a lot about migrating or evolving from a grocery delivery last mile to grocery technology.
Right.
And we now power the retail sites of over 240 retail partners. We're basically offering a white label ad tech to those retailers
Wow.
that are now part of our ecosystem. And so brands don't have to manage over like 200 different separate and disparate retail media networks. The value there is you can reach all of those retailers and consumers who are shopping on those sites through a one-stop shop, their Instacart.
That's amazing what you just said. So basically, evolution of Instacart coming from an online grocery delivery platform
Yeah.
to a retail media white label SSP provider to build a retail media network
Yeah.
for retailers that do not have this capability is mind-blowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And wow, this is an amazing revenue stream too, by the way. Kudos on the business strategy.
Yeah.
Great. Now, okay, so you're allowing retailers to build their retail media networks in partnership with Instacart.
Correct.
And I remember you just announced, maybe this several months back, partnership with TikTok, which brings up another hot topic for me, offsite retail media. So you're providing on-site retail media infrastructure,
Right.
and you're building off-site partnerships. Can you give us more examples about what type of partnerships you're building with off-site retail media?
Yeah, so for offsite retail media, it's going back to again starting with like the most valuable like first party audience data to be able to now reach those users no matter what they're doing. Even though we would love to think that people are grocery shopping every minute of every
28
day.
hours a day, right?
Exactly. Like we know that consumers are like scrolling on TikTok and like doing searches and figuring out like what to make for dinner across like the web. And we're striking partnerships with social partners and CTV partners and programmatic partners to be able to reach Instacart consumers even when they're outside of Instacart and doing those everyday media consumption as well. And we're finding that CPG brands that have partnered in those areas have also been able to reach like incremental users. Their media is more performant, and the measurability, the close the loop measurement is also something that our brands have found really valuable. Mhm.
Okay, that's interesting because I remember a couple of other companies, some collaborative, some competitor, also building similar partnerships. But what ad format is trending the most right now? What ad format is the high in demand?
On Instacart.
Yes, on-site and off-site.
Yeah, I mean, I would say on Instacart, like the most in demand, I can't see a world where it won't be, is our sponsored product. Because again, it is like capturing the demand or when users are searching. And I would say the value of sponsored product, and this is very similar to, I remember selling in my Pinterest days as well, is that consumers come to Instacart with intent to shop,
Of
of
course.
course, but the vast majority of their searches, as an example, is unbranded. So they're not looking for particularly like a specific brand of like chips or a drink. They're looking for potato chips. They're looking for soda. And that is an opportunity for you as a brand to intersect that moment of where the consumer is and say like, this consumer is in the mindset or they have an intent to purchase potato chips. Let me serve up like a Lay's potato chips and, make sure that that consumer converts on my brand and my product. So that is never going to change. I would say
Yeah.
that will be
You're right.
most popular. The other reality right now is like the macroeconomic climate and just affordability in general. I know is top of mind for every consumer out there.
Right.
And so one of the other ad formats that have worked very well um, in the past, but also today is something called like we call like stock up and save, where there are user incentives that get unlocked when you reach like a purchase threshold. So that will continue to be. And then from an off-platform capability, it is running that platform's ads, but using Instacart audiences as a target to make that targeting segment more performant for that brand across those platforms.
Are we going to see shoppable ad units from Instacart? Like I'm seeing a video ad on my TikTok feed.
Yeah. Oh,
I want to buy the unit on the media unit without being directed to the PDP.
right. Yeah. Well, I think so. That's actually one of the key like trends, I would say. Like when I do meet with our CPG partners, they want everything to be shoppable, and I think that is
Shorten the journey, reduce the clicks.
exactly. Yeah. So even when I think back to some of our like big co-marketing, whether they were at like actual campaigns or even in like the ideation stage, it is how can somebody at home who may be watching like the big game see some sort of like brand messaging and offer or just some call to action, use Instacart to get that item delivered to you within like an hour or less. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fourth quarter, fourth and goal, and my team is about to tie the game.
Exactly.
I want to have some bar of chocolate
Yeah.
in the next 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Bring it to me.
Yeah, but I think just generally speaking, like we're making investments to reach consumers wherever they are in their journey and then bring them down through things like shoppable video display.
Right.
Then also our most recent innovation and things like shoppable, like bundles, recipes, occasions that we talked about. Yeah.
Now, I remember you were promoting and encouraging us to increase our media spend to unlock some reporting tiers. There were multiple tiers of reporting, and back in the day, most of the brands were in the exploration game. We were just building our first version of Playbook. So we weren't aware how important it is to unlock advanced reporting tiers.
Yes.
Nowadays, now everybody up to speed on the media investment. Everybody cracked the code for retail media, but measurement still is the holy grail.
Yeah.
What reporting capabilities, what measurement granularity do you provide to your brand partners to allow them to invest more willingly?
Yeah. Well, you just reminded me, you have a crazy memory that I did that. Yeah. But I will say, in addition to that, we call it consumer insights. And that is all you will get like through Ads Manager, as an example, the tool where you're managing your ads, all of the campaign metrics, all of the attributed sales, all of the basic metrics that you would expect. But then through our insights team, like our brand insights team, they can then cut that into so many different ways in terms of what else is in your basket. If your sales is up or down, what is driving that? Is that being driven by deliveries, average order size, frequency? The danger in that is that we don't want like any type of like analysis paralysis. And we actually do get feedback from our partners that sometimes the data that they get from Instacart is so robust and it is so vast.
It is rich, yeah.
And so typically how we partner with our brands is, again, going back to what is it that you're looking to do? What business objective are you like looking to achieve? And then it's up to like me and my team to figure out, okay, what is that measurement plan? What is that insights plan that will help you design the best program, but then also get the most measurable results? So that's that from that lens. From a measurement piece, we're also have found incredible success, and we've been now doing this a few years, which is all around incremental sales lift. I know, and
You read my mind.
yeah. Yep. Things like a lift test study where we do random control groups,
Right.
like expose not, and then measure the lift of those that saw like a sponsor product ad. We're doing a lot more of that. We're able to do things like by category, by brand, again based on what a partner needs. But then we're also doing making a lot of investments in third-party measurement, specifically with
Yeah.
Circana, where we're able to measure things like X percentage of your sales, like soft drinks brand, was X percent or like 75% incremental to what you may be doing. Or said a better way, we're partnering with Circana, a third-party measurement company, to measure the incrementality of
That's what
Instacart.
we're all looking for, because when you
Exactly.
have 1,800 retailers in a
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
platform, there is always question what sales are organic, what
Yeah.
sales are incremental, and causation. What's that? What do you have benchmarks per category on that?
Yeah, I mean, we have run like hundreds of studies at this point, so we're able to guide that conversation for sure. I think what has been really exciting, again, reflecting on my almost 6 years here, is this notion of incrementality. Is my business or my sales on Instacart incremental to what I'm already
Right.
getting? And that was like a business question that we weren't able to solve for back then. But through partnerships like a Circana, we're able to measure. First, we went and measured it at the retailer level, both national and regional retailers, and found that anywhere between 75 to 90% of sales were distinct to Instacart, meaning that
Wow.
those retailers wouldn't have captured those sales unless they were on Instacart. Um, so that's the first part of it. But then the second part is also then bringing it to the brand level. And again, we've done Circana measurement to measure things like incrementality of a category or a specific brand. And we're able to tell many of our partners anywhere again from like 70 to 90% of their sales as measured was distinct to Instacart. So again, couldn't have reached those users and acquired those sales unless you were on Instacart.
This is mind blowing, first, and this is great news for all my peers, colleagues, and practitioners in many different categories that finally were able to distinguish the sales generated by Instacart and incremental lift on these sales. Okay, this is going to unlock a lot of media spend.
And then we're going to do more of this in 2026. Yeah. Yeah.
Excited to meet us at industry events next year? Scan the QR code to view the full event calendar kit.